I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
All right, y'all, we're here. We're live. You're watching Buster Unmasked. And you know what you got to do right off the bat? You got to like this video right now. You got to share this video right now. And you got to go straight to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Hit that little red bell. That way you know when content's coming out and you don't have to worry about it. It's right there for you. Got a great show for you guys tonight. You know, it's always special anytime we get any of the ladies on, and man, do we have one on here tonight. You know what I got to do before we bring her on, though? I got to promote these upcoming podcasts. There are a couple of new ones, so be sure to check the list out, and we'll get to business.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Game face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, don't need no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me stack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough. Calluses on my hands so rough, yeah, I call your bluff. I'm not the one, mess with me and come down with none. Cause I'm so done, you had your fun. And now you're gonna face down the barrel of the gun. Cause I got a full clip with your name on it. But I'ma let you slide cause you ain't worth it. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
All right, y'all, you seen right there, got a bunch of cool podcasts coming up. It's going to be a busy week this week. I'm back Wednesday with the owner and founder of KAW and Memphis Championship Wrestling, also the owner and founder of Golden Media. This guy's taking over the airways, Terry Golden. He'll be here Wednesday. And then Thursday, I got the man who brings all the smoke, MJ Davis, the current Bluff City heavyweight champion. Look, I'm going to do something a little different. We've already got a few comments. Before we bring our guest on, I'm going to do these so we can get to her once she gets on. We got Lawrence Laza Johnson. He says, good day, all greetings from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Lawrence, man, I appreciate you tuning in, man. I feel like we're branching out all the way to Australia. Cool, man. I really love that idea. I always wanted to go to Australia. I'd love to come there and see your country. And look, Chance, what can I say about Chance? Him and Mark McGee, they are out of this world at sharing and promoting, helping everybody in wrestling, but they really promote a lot of our stuff, a lot of my stuff. Chance says, I've been waiting for since the Savage Brotherhood podcast, and I've been promoting it since then. Glad it's finally here. Chance, I'm glad it's finally here too. We got Mark McGee says, good evening, Buster and Nova, my brother and sister. Mark, I'm glad you're watching. I appreciate both of you guys. But y'all know what time it is right now. Let me just say this. This lady is a third-generation professional wrestler. Wrestling is in her blood. She was born into this business. She is the top woman at not American Hostile, excuse me, I'm messing up already, at AWA, Arkansas Wrestling Association out of Blytheville, and she is without a doubt the queen bee of the Bluff City Mafia. I bring to you the one and only Nova Rain. Nova.
Hello, Buster.
Girl, are we finally here or what? I was beginning to think it wasn't going to happen.
Well, third time's a charm, right?
Third time is the charm. We're here, and I'm looking forward to it. We already got people chiming in. You know this guy real well. Y'all got heat. Y'all got heat in sometimes, and in other places you don't. Deacon Pierce says, Nova, Nova, Nova. Lawrence is back with us. He said, would be awesome if you come to Australia, Buster. Man, I would love to. I've always wanted to go to Australia, man. Probably a place I would live at. Chance is here. He says, finally here. Lawrence is back, says, good day, Nova.
Hello, everybody.
All right, girl, here's the deal. I said it. You're a third-generation professional wrestler. You are the granddaughter of legendary wrestler, promoter, trainer, Buddy Wayne Peel. You're the daughter of Vicious Vicky. Talk to me about, let's just go all the way back, man. You was born into this business. You see it up there, family wrestling legacy. Talk to me about growing up in this crazy business of pro wrestling, girl.
It is something that only somebody that has been in the business for as long as I have can understand. I have tried to explain it to people before, and they're still starry-eyed. The way I grew up, it's part of their job. So even though I grew up around all these huge WWE stars now, back then it was, oh man, look, there's my friend. And I would go hang out with them. I remember when I was younger, Buddy had a wrestling ring in the backyard, and he trained from the backyard. I was at my grandpa's house all the time. I was staying on the apron, and here comes Sid Vicious. So my very first crossbody was about 6 or 7 years old. I turned and crossbodied off onto Sid Vicious.
Now that's cool. That's cool right there.
And there's been many, many, many years of memories. I can talk for days on the memories that I have as a kid.
Well,
Going to towns and different shows and seeing all the different people go from a nobody, or as we call them, jobbers, to like the big stars nowadays.
Right.
It's incredible.
Man, I can't even imagine it, man. It had to have been crazy. It had to have been cool as hell. Like you said, you've been around all these different people when you were a kid that are stars and been huge stars. But I mean, honestly, your granddad, man, legendary around our area. If you don't mind, kind of take us through a little bit about your granddad, Nova, and tell us a little bit about him.
I'm not honestly real sure where to start. I know he started wrestling, I want to say it was in the 50s, and it was he started wrestling as John Peel, I want to say is what it was. It might be John Dwayne, but he started pretty much as a nobody, and he busted his ass to get up to where he was. Even up until the day he died, he was still the talk of the town. Everybody that knows somebody in the wrestling business knows who Buddy Wayne is. And I feel like with me stepping into the wrestling world, I have to follow some massive footsteps, not just with him, but with like my uncle and my dad and my mother. I went many towns with him. I had so much fun going different places with him. The different car rides we had, the stories that he told us growing up, the different people that he's actually wrestled or the people that he's met. I was supposed to go with him one year to the Gulf Coast Wrestling Reunion, and I'm honestly not sure what happened. I think that's when he started getting sick, when he was diagnosed with the cancer the first time, and I never got the chance to go. And I really wish I would have. It would have been fantastic to meet people. Like Luthez was one of my favorite peoples, and I have a picture of Buddy and Lou together framed.
That's cool too. That's really cool. Well, let me ask you this. Now, like you said, Buddy's a legend. There's a lot of talk around wrestling period about wrestling's royal families. And I think if we're for sure around the Mid-South area here, I don't see how your family couldn't be included in that discussion of wrestling royal families. Like you said, Buddy Wayne's been around my whole life. I've watched Buddy Wayne when he was a wrestler. I actually got to work with him at Memphis Championship Wrestling some. My partner, Ron McClarty, actually trained in Buddy's backyard in that ring probably you're talking about playing in. So, and like, it's not just Buddy, it's not just you, it's your mom, your uncles. I mean, pretty much most of the family's into wrestling, right?
Yes, sir. So my brother has done a couple things with Poker Face. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, is Eric your brother?
Eric is my cousin. He is my dad's brother. Ken, it's his son.
Okay, well, who's your brother then?
My brother is Josh. He's my baby brother. He really hasn't trained, even though it's in his blood. He just did like a couple run-in spots for Millington Mayhem last year. He did the Battle Royal last year, and that pretty much was to get his feet wet. And then last year, or this past April, he did the floor guard. I'm not real sure what the floor manager. He was the floor manager for Poker and Allen Steele.
Well, that's cool. And like I said, there's a lot of a lot of y'all are in the business. Talk to me about you. Let's get on you specifically, man. When did you decide? I mean, obviously you're a kid. It's a big, bright world. You're meeting all these people. But when did you decide that this is something you really wanted to give a go at too?
To be honest, I started training. I wanted to start wrestling when I was in high school, but that obviously was not in the works for me. Being on the road all the time, I never had time to really do anything. It was get to the show, set up the ring, set up concessions, set the chairs up, get ready to start selling pictures or the flyers, different things that we had to do. So I never really had time to actually train. In 2009, my uncle, Ken Wayne, had a wrestling school in West Memphis, and I trained there for several months, ended up getting really hurt, and I backed out for a long, long time. Everybody that came to see me, Downtown Bruno is not blood family related, but he is my Uncle Bruno. I will forever call him my Uncle Bruno. He has been in my life since before I was born. He will always remain my Uncle Bruno.
He may very well be the coolest dude in the wrestling business. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love Bruno. Since the first day I ever met Bruno, he was nice to me, professional with me, treated me with utmost respect, and I don't think you can get a better guy in the wrestling business with Bruno, man. He's been there and Absolutely. Done it all.
So different people that I have had come to me asking for me to critique their matches, or even the referees and stuff, I'll tell them, you need to watch two people in particular, Downtown Bruno and Jerry Calhoun. Those are who you need to look for to improve your refereeing skills. I'm sorry. But back to me wrestling. So I was out for quite some time, and I decided not to go back. I was ready to try to have a family life. That lasted for a little while. Long story short, didn't work out. So I did what I needed to do, went to school, started my career, which I have been in. Next month will be 13 years that I have been on an ambulance doing my actual job. And people ask me in the medical field, you always have to have these people ask you, why did you want to become an EMT or a paramedic, or why did you want to do this? Well, mine goes hand in hand with wrestling. To be honest, I was at the Coliseum for Lawler's birthday bash. Was it 2003? And that was the night that Moondog Spot died. And I stood there. I looked at Larry like another father figure to me, because I was around him my whole life. So when I saw what was going on, I felt helpless, and I told my mom after the show, this is what I want to do. I'm going to be able to go to school and have the knowledge to save somebody if something happens. And I've kicked ass at that since then too.
Yeah, but, no, go ahead, girl.
So I started doing the behind the scenes stuff for Bluff City. Actually, my mom was doing that first. Johnny Dotson had gotten in touch with her, started doing some behind the scenes stuff with my mom. She ended up having her cancer. It metastasized to her spine. So she very quickly taught me how to do what she was doing, like the production type part of it. So I stepped in, started doing the production part while she was out with surgery. And she's like, well, you're doing a better job than me. You're going to keep doing it. I was like, great. Okay, I got this. So it was Savage Brotherhood and Tiger Williams. Tiger asked me to come do a run-in for them at AWA. And I was like, I have no clothes to wear. I have jeans and t-shirts or sweatpants and tank tops. Like, this is all I wear. He's like, well, you can come up with something. You're creative. You're a Wayne. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I did my little run-in, and TW said, hey, I like her look. I like her attitude. Can she work? And they were like, well, let me tell you about Nova. She's third generation, went on. And I started training, or continued training with Storm and a lot of the guys there. And I was very hesitant about the training at first, because I had gotten hurt with a very simple move, and it took me quite some time. But everybody there was so patient with me, and it was fantastic. And since then, I've just been head on trying to get different shows as I can. With my schedule being as crazy as it is, I try to make as many shows as I can to put myself out there, to try to build a name for myself.
I think you're doing a good job at that. You recently, was it past Saturday, or has it had been 2 weeks ago? OCW, you debuted there, right?
I was supposed to, but there were some unforeseen circumstances that happened, and I was actually not able to make my debut. I am looking into, Deacon.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that, Deacon. We're gonna get there, dude. Just give us a little time, man. We're working our way straight to you, my friend, without a doubt.
I actually have to get back in touch with the guys over there at OCW and try to figure out my dates. I know the month of May is pretty packed on every Saturday that I have, so I'm hoping I can get back there soon and do what I need to do.
Right.
Sorry.
So let's backtrack just a little. You were talking about going and setting up and concessions and all this. So you have probably done every part of this job there is to do, short of maybe booking.
Well, I've actually refereed before. I did not enjoy that, but I have done it a couple times. I have done I've done booking to a certain extent with a little bit of a twist. 2 years ago, I ran a fundraiser show for my mom.
Okay.
And
that was at Osceola, right?
It was.
Okay.
It was in Osceola. It didn't draw as great as I thought it would, which is okay. We still raised enough money to help my mom pay some of her medical bills that were outstanding. But the guys up there were fantastic. Every single one of the guys from the OCW crew to the Bluff City crew, the Crossroads Wrestling crew, APW, everybody that came together, it didn't matter if these people had rivals over here and had the rivals over here, we all came together as one and did what we needed to do for Vicious Vicky. And it brought tears to my eyes. It was amazing.
Yeah, man, Osceola's always good about helping anybody, and every company you mentioned just then the same way. Crossroads does a ton of community stuff, benefits, and different stuff for the community. MCW, Ricky Kennedy with APW, the same thing. OCW does a lot of benefits and helps people when they need it. Really cool thing, man. It's a double-edged sword. Y'all did that on a Sunday, right?
I think it was on a Sunday.
I think it was. Some towns are weird about drawing on Sundays. You know, Osceola, they're a Friday night town. That's what they're used to. But let's talk about your mom for just a second, because what was it like growing up with your mom being in the business too?
Growing up, I have always, still to this day, I will tell you that I'm not scared of anybody except my mom.
There you go. There you go.
I know the things that she can do, and I will not cross her, not even think about crossing her. Seeing the people, there's actually somebody that I worked with the other day for the first time. I just changed to a new job, so I'm still meeting new people. So my partner, I was talking to my supervisor about doing the OCW show, and my partner kind of was eavesdropping on the conversation. And he's like, wait a minute, you're talking about wrestling, like professional wrestling? And I was like, yeah, I am. So we're talking about different stuff. And he's like, oh, so it's always the same thing. So Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yes, I do. So they're like, who else do you know? I was like, what do you know about Memphis wrestling? And they're like, man, I know about like the Waynes and the Gilberts. I'm like, wait a minute.
There you go.
Waynes? And he was like, yeah, why? I was like, what do you know about the women? And he's like, man, they had some badass women there, like women I wouldn't even mess with, like all this stuff. And I was like, Vicious Vicky? He's like, man, she was my favorite. I was like, over Miss Texas? And he was like, hell yeah. I'm like, that's my mom. He's like, no way. So it's funny to see people's reactions that it's like a shock to them, like, oh my God, you're like the daughter of a huge star. But to me, it's just my mom. It's just my dad, just my grandpa.
Right, but to everybody else, they're bigger than life.
Yeah.
Everybody who watched them on TV, they're bigger than life. And that's cool. Is that something that you really wanted your work family to kind of know and find out, or was you like? Because here's the thing. I mean, obviously, Buddy, times have changed now, but Buddy was a stickler for kayfabe. You know, even after it was already totally gone, Buddy's still a stickler for kayfabe. So, is that something you wanted them to know, or what?
To a certain extent, like I completely understand that kayfabe is just gone. I try my best when I'm doing behind the scenes type stuff. I try so hard. It's like, hey, kayfabe, go somewhere else. But then people are like, there was a young kid that was like, what does that mean? I'm like, oh my, are you serious? Like, no, just go back to the locker room. Just go somewhere else. But nowadays, you're being pushed. You can't go to a town and paper a town like we used to do and draw hundreds of people. Now it's all publicized by social media. Right. So you're not really putting in that legwork like we used to do, like back in the day. I used to start at one corner and walk a whole shopping center, talk to managers like, hey, we're having a wrestling show, blah, blah, blah. Can I put this flyer in your window? And that's how we did it. Actually meeting people and talking to people. That's how we got our sponsors too. But nowadays it's like social media, just making phone calls or text messages, which in my opinion is lazy, but that's how the world works now. Technology. I hate technology.
You sound like me, girl. You sound just like me. And I miss those old cards. I miss those big cards for the upcoming shows, man. I don't think people realize that. And there's still a few people that do put them out. Ricky Kennedy puts some out. I think Mark Manley puts a few out. Jamie J at 100 Wrestling, he does that. But it's really a lost art, and it's a big part of the wrestling business. Newspapers. Like you said, you're out here putting these flyers out, putting these cards out. You're meeting people, word of mouth. You're talking to people. You go into a gas station. You're not just talking to the owner of the gas station, asking them, can you put this up? as other customers are coming in and out, they're checking out the card. You might strike up a conversation, and that's how you drawed fans in wrestling. And I believe it would still work 100% to this day. I believe it would work better than just relying on social media.
Exactly. But with that being said, the social media part and me going to work, I have my personal Facebook page and then I have my Nova Facebook page. People at my job, I have found out that a lot of the people that I work with absolutely love wrestling. And I'm like, man, okay, so if I have even 5 people, my coworkers, come to see me at a show, that's 5 extra asses in seats that weren't there before. So even though you know who I am and you know what I do for a living, when you walk through that arena door, you know that it's not this person, it's now Nova Rain.
Right. So, that's a big deal, man. That's important. That's important, period. That's how you draw people in. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of, like kayfabe, you're talking about the kid with kayfabe. I'll be honest with you, I don't even, it's just something they say now. I don't even know why they say it anymore, because they don't practice it whatsoever. And I can't say nothing. I'm on here doing this podcast, which even 30 years ago, when I broke in the business in 1991, oh shit, I'd have been blackballed completely out of the business if there'd have been social media and I'd have been trying to have this podcast.
The difference is now is you can't make a living off of wrestling just alone. You have to have your shoot job.
That's right.
I'm not going to sit here and say that wrestling's my hobby. I do enjoy wrestling. It is a fantastic way of exercising every muscle in your body. But at the end of the day, you can't rely on your PO from a show to pay your bills. So if you're going to push, I saw a bunch of people that I know that are on the upcoming podcast that you have. I know that they all work shoot jobs. But in order to grow them, just like you're doing with me, in order to grow the Nova Rain name and put me out there to show people, hey, I am the baddest of the bad. Like, you want to come see me whoop somebody's ass? This is where I'm going to be. Start following me, start seeing where I'm going. So it's like a win-win, but also a little bit of a lose because of that kayfabe, the loss of kayfabe.
Right. Right. I miss kayfabe. I'll be honest with you. I really do miss it. I want to say, what's up, Eric J, man? I posted your comment just a few minutes ago. I'm glad you're watching. I appreciate it, Eric. You know that. Eric's my dude, man. Love Eric to death. So look, talk to me about your very first match.
My very first match, I did not enjoy. I'm going to be honest. And if I had the opportunity to actually talk to the girl one-on-one, I'm going to tell her the same thing. I have said it publicly before. So it's not like I have no reason to lie. I'm going to shoot it straight. I told the girl that I was nervous. It was my first match. She was going to have to lead me because I didn't know what I was doing. And it literally was like a squash match. And I felt like she embarrassed me. It was
took
absolutely
advantage of you.
100%. And then I kept hearing these excuses. Well, she was blah, blah, blah. She was blah, blah. I don't give a shit. When you step into a ring or you step into an arena, you leave your personal stuff behind, because if you bring your personal stuff into the ring, not only could you injure yourself, you can injure your opponent. And I thought that she was very close to injuring me. And I was like, I will never, ever do this again. Ever. You want me to continue working your show? You can find me somebody else.
Yeah, I agree with that. Here's the thing, in which they don't even really do it on TV no more. That's really the only time you really need squish matches is on TV. Have meat matches to, at least that way, the fans who are watching know who the guys are that are the stars. You know, but if you're on a house show, and especially if the idea is for y'all to come back and work more shows, it just does not make no sense to squish your opponent, man. I mean, let them shine some, let them do something. It just, I mean, you're definitely, why are they going to come back and see y'all again, you know, if she just beat your ass and squished you? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Exactly. And I just had a conversation with somebody the other day. I messaged them and I was explaining to them that wrestling it's a story. It is 100% a story. From the time your entrance music hits to the time you walk back through that curtain. Each match, you have a show as a whole, but each match is a part of the chapter. So
Right.
each match has to line up with that chapter, and each show that you put on is the continuing chapters. So if your matches are just to be thrown together, who's going to come watch it? Nobody's going to give a shit who's wrestling who or who looks better if it doesn't keep their interest.
And I was always taught, even if you're having a one-off match, that's your opportunity to tell a story within that match. I don't care whether it's 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and some people say, well, you can't tell a story in 3 minutes. Yeah, you can. You can tell a story in 3 minutes. 3 minutes in a wrestling ring is a long-ass time. Get in there and find out. But that's the honest truth. That's what people watch wrestling for. The story is absolutely 100% to me the most important part. You can have lackluster matches, but if the story, if all the points on the story were hit right, that's all it needs. That's what people really care about. They need to know why, where, who, and how.
So for women, you have the soap operas like Days of Our Lives and things like that. But for men, you have wrestling because it's the drama. And then if you add the women in there, especially the ones that are parading around in like the skimpy outfits, of course men are going to watch. That's what they want to see. But at the same time, they're going to continue watching these shows because, oh, this is what happened on the last show. I wonder if it's going to happen again. And you keep building, keep building, keep building until one day it's like, boop, nope. And then like, oh shit, well, this just happened. What's going to happen next show? You have to do something to keep their interest. And I feel like nowadays, a lot of the shows are more comedy. It's not wrestling related. I mean, yes, there's some wrestling moves, but where's the storyline? You're just throwing stuff together just because you're like, oh, I have a show. And then you're not drawing.
I feel like people, a lot of the young guys and girls now feel like if they get a pop from the crowd, they're doing their job. Look, you can make a damn wrestling crowd pop on damn near anything. We can get a pop out of them for damn near anything in the world, but that does not mean they're invested in you and what you're doing. And I love the idea. Here's the thing. I miss when, like now, if you have you got a main event on the card, none of the other matches try to build up to that. When I broke in, if you were in first match, you know you didn't do nobody's finisher that was in any match after you. Don't go over your time. Don't go out there and try to have a WrestleMania match. Get your first match in, set the tone for the next guy coming out or girl, and then they do their part. Like you said, chapters. And I miss that. Just because the first match don't have nothing to do with the last match does not mean that first match doesn't help set up every single match after it and so on and so forth. And that's part of storytelling too.
Exactly. And nowadays, for whatever reason, people want to keep bumping the ref, and then the ref comes back out the next match, and then the match after that. And I'm like, what are you doing? Not only are you killing the show, you're killing your refs too.
Yeah,
everybody wants to be a part of something, and you don't necessarily have to be a part of it. Do your job. And, granted, refs are a huge part of the match. If they know how to ref and they know how to do what they need to do, you can take two people that are the drizzling shits, but if you have a ref that knows what they're doing, it's going to make them look like superstars.
Right. They cannot have any idea how to work at all, but if they can do the moves, you got a smart referee that's got experience. Man, ain't nothing better than having a referee to help you call spots sometimes, because sometimes if you got 15, 20, 25 minutes, well, time 25 minutes goes by, you're running out of ideas during the match. So it's good to have a referee that can say, hey, here's you a spot. You're sitting there in a headlock or something, headlock takeover, and he's calling the spot for you. Y'all get up and run it, and boom. And here's the thing. I feel like referees won't be too much of that. I feel like they want to be so much a part of the show, when I was always taught the best referees are the ones that you do not, they're invisible until you need them. That's the best referees. You actually forget they're even in the match with the combatants, because everybody wants to be the star of the show now.
Exactly.
It's one thing if you're a ref and you've got a spot that you're supposed to do, well then yes, you're part of that. But if you're just out there reffing, you shouldn't be so animated where you're drawing attention from the wrestlers. Here's what I hate, girl, and I know Buddy would hate this shit. I hate when you see these referees. Wrestlers will take a bump and the referees jump 6 feet in the fucking air.
It depends on what bump it is.
If you got Brock Lesnar and the Big Show coming off the second rope with a suplex, yes, but when you got 240-pound guys suplexing each other and the referee jumps his feet's 5 feet in the air,
yeah,
that's just ridiculous. It's crazy.
That's 100% overkill.
So talk to me about the nerves. You've grown up in this business. Here's what I want to know, because I had a super issue with stage fright when I first started. So the question I have for you, being that you'd always kind of grew up in the business and been around it, were you more nervous when you actually started breaking into business, or was you less nervous?
I am more nervous now because I feel like if I don't, I know it's on me, but in my head, the way my head works, I feel like if I don't do something the way my family or the people that have trained me knows I know how to do, if I screw it up, then I'm like, shit, I just ruined the whole match. Even though it's just one little spot, maybe I can recover from it, maybe I can't. It doesn't matter. If the match as a whole looks good and they're happy, then I'm happy. I always, after every match that I've worked, I've always gone to somebody, I'm like, hey, how'd it look? Or I'll have somebody record it for me and I'll go back and like, oh, I could have done that so much better. But my nerves get the best of me. I'm not even sure how to describe it. I start shaking real bad. I'll start dry heaving. I don't know if other people do that.
Girl,
I'm like, oh.
Me and you are right here.
As soon as my music hits, thanks to Laza, got a shout out to Laza for making my music. It is fantastic. I love my entrance music. As soon as my music hits and I do my little jumping for a second and I get into the zone, as soon as I go through that curtain, it's no longer the Wayne part. It is now Nova Rain.
Right. And here you talking about the dry heaving and stuff. I don't think people realize it, man. Most people blow up in the wrestling ring not because they don't have the cardio or they're out of shape. It's the nerves. You get antsy, you get anxious, man, and them nerves, your mind goes to going 100 miles an hour, and you're worried about 10 different things, and that's what blows you up. You'll do the dry heaves. I've done that. I'm guilty of that too, man. You'll get that feeling and you'll be dry heaving, and then if you're out in the ring, you got to try to disguise that shit somehow too, so people don't see it, you know. But it's mostly nerves with most people. It's not that they're not in shape or they don't have their ring win, because there is a big difference in being able to get on a Stepmaster and go 40 minutes than there is going in a wrestling ring and going 40 minutes. The win's totally different.
Oh yes.
You know, and it's I've been guilty of that. Let me ask you this. Coming from your family, I mean, look, you got some great wrestlers in your family. Ken, obviously, Nightmare, one of the very best. Buddy. Eric, I don't know Eric personally, but I've seen some of his work. I like Eric. But did that add extra pressure on you to feel like you've got to live up to this certain expectation? I know you just kind of said
100%. I have watched my favorite things when I started training. I started watching not only a bunch of Nightmare Ken Wayne matches, even like early matches with him and Eddie Gilbert. I also was watching a bunch of Eddie Gilbert videos. I absolutely love the way Eddie Gilbert did any and everything from his promos to his actual work, his whole dynamic. I absolutely loved, their angle that they did. So when I go out to wrestle, I feel like I have this big weight on my shoulder of like, okay, you've got to do this because, Buddy could do this with no problem. And Ken can do this with no problem. And Vicious Vicky can do this with no problem. And it's always still in my head. And I think the worst part about it is, to be honest, when I started wrestling, I told everybody, I don't want to be known as a Wayne. I don't want anything to do with the Wayne because I don't want to have that hand like to help me out. I want to, if this is what I'm going to do, I want to build a name for myself. And then of course, kayfabe is dead. Everybody would telegraph, tele-wrestler.
Tele-wrestler, there you go.
Everybody immediately found out, oh, so this is Vicky's daughter and Greg's daughter and Ken's niece and Buddy's granddaughter. And that was like, shit, this is not what I wanted out yet. But then once I got it out, I started telling people, yeah, I am third generation. So I do my absolute best with every match that I do, every promo that I do, everything that I do wrestling related. I always give 110% no matter what it is.
Let me ask you this. Talking about kayfabe and telephone, telegraph, telewrestler. Are wrestlers not some of the most gossiping freaking people in the history of? I don't see how kayfabe ever worked. I guess it's because those guys back then were always on the road and really only around each other all the time. So I guess you're gossiping between each other. But man, you can't, nothing happen in the wrestling business that don't make it even before social media. Something could happen in New York, and by 8 o'clock the next morning, everybody already knew about it. Everybody in the wrestling business already knew. Wrestlers, man, I don't see how kayfabe ever worked with us.
I don't either. It's
social media just gave us an outlet too, man. And look, honestly, I'm like you. I really ain't a big social media fan, but I do believe as wrestlers, I think you could, if you used it properly, it can be a big asset to promote and help market yourself and get yourself out there further than you ever could before. You know, before, you know, if you wrestled in Osceola on Friday night, nobody knew about it. If you wrestled on Channel 5 Saturday morning, only the viewing area knew about it. You know, it wasn't all over the country for the fans. That's why back in the day, you could go to the Coliseum and have a match, go to Nashville and have the same match the next week, and nobody knew, you know. And so let me ask you this: what would Buddy, had you broken the business before he passed? You hadn't, had you?
I was training in 2009. He died in 2015, but I didn't actually start really going hard and heavy in training until about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. So he had already passed.
So what do you think Grandpa would say about you breaking into the business?
Girl, I don't know why you would do shit like this.
Sounds like any smart old school wrestler right there. This ain't why would you want to be in this business?
Especially nowadays, like I said before, you can't make any money really doing it unless you are like AEW or WWE, something like that, a big name company. But nowadays, there's honestly no money to be made into it.
And let me ask you that then. What do you think that the issue is there? Because, I mean, back in the day, just around our area here, those guys worked 5, 6, and 7 nights a week, twice on Saturday. And at one point, there was an A and B show at different times running too. So they're running 2 shows a night a lot of times. So what do you think the downfall has been to wrestling like that, where guys could actually make a living doing this?
Well, that's actually something that I talked to my mom about not too terribly long ago. When she was wrestling, she was able to pay her bills with her PO because, like you said, she was working a lot. We had a show on Friday night. We had TV Saturday morning. We had a show Saturday night. Monday night, we had the Coliseum. It was a consistent thing where it built the name up. So in my opinion, if you build your show like it needs to be done, where you promote it, you publicize it everywhere it needs to be, you put your asses in seats, that gives you your money to be able to pay your people. Where nowadays people, like, shows could have 50 to 100 people, where back in the day, the same show, if you run that same card 15, 20 years ago, you'd have 400, 500, 600 people easy.
Or more a lot of times. I mean, 15. One thing Eddie Marlin told me was that any town you go in, you want to draw 10% of your population. So if you got 30,000 people in a town, you really want to draw 3,000 people to that show. It don't always happen, but that's the kind of the business model. And live attendance. Let me ask you this. I mean, your family's been in the business forever. You growed up in it. Wrestling was always built on live attendance. Saturday morning TV was just a marketing thing to promote the fact that we're going to be here. You can see these guys. Here's some matches you might see. It was basically a commercial for drawing people to your live attendance. I feel like a lot of places now, they only want to run TV. Honestly, EPW is probably the best one around as far as running more and more house shows. The more they grow, I start seeing more and more house shows.
I've seen a
TV,
couple pictures on social media of their crowds, and it is fantastic. The way that they draw, man. So they're doing something right, and they know what they're doing right.
right, and it's just, I don't know, man. The wrestling business is so much different now than it was even in the early 90s. It's just like 90% of the stuff I see go on in the wrestling business would not have been tolerated. Not it. Your ass. They'd have had your bags waiting outside in the rain, waiting on your ass, and they'd have pushed you right out the door. You know.
And that's my biggest pet peeve. If I'm booked on a show, I always do my absolute best to make call time, because I know that there's a reason why there's a call time. There's things that need to be gone over before the show starts, and people that show up, 5 minutes before the show starts, well, guess what? There's the door. Get your shit and get the hell out, because you're not working my show. It's not so much about making the call time, as long as you communicate with your promoter or your booker, say, hey, I'm running late, whatever excuse you're going to have. It's about respect. And I think in the wrestling business nowadays, a lot of people don't respect other people. It's all about them. They have that big head of, I'm the superstar. You're not going to tell me when I can show up.
I'll be honest with you, that, and I feel like they don't respect the business. I feel like they don't respect pro wrestling, the business itself, and that's one thing that, another thing that wasn't tolerated. I mean, you could be a prick and have issues with guys, but if you didn't respect the pro wrestling business, your ass would be gone again. You would be right out the door. And I feel like that's where a lot of it lies. But, that goes back to kayfabe. Truthfully, kayfabe is respecting the wrestling business. 100%. Because that's the way it was designed to work. Now, I don't even know. I'll be honest with you. If I was 20 years old, I don't know that I would want to be a pro wrestler now.
I mean, it's so difficult. I have days where I'll tell people, like, I'm done. Like, I haven't been wrestling that long, but I'm done. Like, it's ridiculous. The amount of disrespect people give each other, or, just things in general. Like, back in the day, we used to have a piece of paper that was taped on every locker room is the 10 commandments of wrestling. And one of those commandments is to respect the wrestling business. Right. And it's like that one, it's just disappeared. Nobody gives a shit anymore.
It's all entertainment to everybody now. I mean, it just is. And I mean, truthfully, it's always been entertainment, but man, the guys back in the day wanted you to believe. And they made you believe because they believed. They believed in what they were doing. They believed in this. They believed in this business as a whole, and did the things, took the steps you needed to make this business successful. I mean, it just is what it is. I don't foresee. I don't think there's ever no way back. I don't know what's the future of wrestling. Big time wrestling, WWE probably ain't never going nowhere. It might another 30, 40 years. And I will say this, I am surprised at how big of a boom the indies are starting to have again now. Of course, when I broke in, there wasn't no such thing as indies. It was outlaw. If you wasn't part of Lawler or Jarrett's crew, or part of WWF or WCW or whoever else was out there that was a legit company, you were running outlaw shows. You were wrestling outlaw. And I just... Buddy, I know Buddy, he hated that outlaw stuff now. So talk to me about what your mom thought about you actually wanting to break in this business.
Well, she said it's about damn time. I think you might have waited a little late to start. She enjoys watching the different matches that I've done. Of course, her and my dad both have only been to one of my matches. I understand with my mom's health, it's difficult for her to get out and everything. So I make sure that it's either recorded or somebody's going live on Facebook where she can see it. And then she gives me, that honest wrestling critique that I need. And and it makes me want to do better. I want to make her proud. She says she's proud all day long. I'm like, yeah, but did you see I just screwed this up or I did this wrong? She's like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. The more you wrestle, the better you get. And I'm like, you're right. You're right, Mom. So she is, alongside my kids, I honestly think she is my number one fan, my biggest believer.
And you know, that's one issue with guys and girls breaking into business now. They don't get to work enough. You just do not get to work enough. Honestly, you need to work a minimum 3 or 4 nights a week at minimum to really start getting in a groove and this stuff start becoming second nature. When you're running once a week or once a month, man, what could take what the things you could learn in 6 months to a year's time liable to take you 5 years to learn now. You
And
know,
that's
and there's
another thing in growing up, like with buddy training, you can train all day long, but you're not honestly going to get better until you're in a ring and actually performing your craft. So it's very difficult. Like, yes, there are some females around here, but it's hard for me just breaking in and like, hey, so I'd like to come work your show. And they're like, well, we don't really have a spot, or, whatever the case may be. But I'm trying so hard to branch out. I've gotten my Missouri license, so I'm waiting on, feedback from the Missouri deal. I've gone to Alabama. I've done Mississippi. Well, I've valeted in Mississippi. I'm waiting on all that stuff to go through again for Mississippi. There's several people that have reached out to me in Arkansas that want me to come work their show. And I'm like, okay, let me get dates together. Let me make sure it lines up, with, my work schedule or, my personal life. I can't stop what I'm doing personally to come work for you, but I'm doing my absolute best.
Look, speaking of personal life, Deacon, he chimed back in. He said most independent promotions running once a month don't really help their talent. And I mean, there ain't no doubt about that, man. Guys, just you're never going to get to work enough. Even the WWE is slowing down. They're weaning down their house shows. And I just don't think that's a smart idea. Sure, you're getting all this money now from TV, but what happens in 10 years when the bottom falls out of that and they don't want to pay you these billions of dollars for TV rights and you've let your house show business tank? You got to then start all over again and start rebuilding your house show business. I don't care whether it's AEW, TNA, any company in the world that's in the pro wrestling business should be working for live attendance at all times. If you're getting $10 billion for TV, then that's a damn plus. But you should still be looking to make the money where it's meant to be made at, and that's people buying tickets and sitting in seats.
Exactly.
And since we got Deacon on here now you and Deacon met through wrestling. Now y'all have been on the floor together, but in real life, y'all are a thing. So talk to me about Deacon. We got his. He was on a few months ago, and we got his perspective. Talk to me about how you guys met.
Well, it starts back with Tiger actually wanting me to do the run-in for AWA, and I talked to Big Daddy Storm and Birdie Hawk, and they were like, hey, so Storm was telling me he's got a ring that they do the training and stuff for me to come down there. So I'm like, that's a long ass drive from where I live, but okay, if I really want to do this, I'm going to make the drive. So I started going down there, and the first couple times I was there, it was like, okay, there's this guy. He's attractive. All right. And then I guess when I made my flirting known, it was all over. Pretty much been together since.
So what did your family, what did your mom think when you told her, hey, I met somebody and yeah, he's a wrestler? Did she knew it was coming, or is that something she's like, you don't want to date a wrestler?
Well, she just told me to be careful. There's been things in the past that have burnt me really badly, and I've made my mistakes before, and Deacon is completely different than other people that I've met before, to be honest. So I'm really not even sure how to put into words. When it comes to him, words do not come out of my mouth correctly.
I
He's
can see it
just
get you a
fantastic.
little flustered a little bit there, girl.
Yes, he is fantastic. He has helped with my training a lot. I worked with him a lot during training, and there were some of the bigger moves that I wanted to do that I started learning back with Ken, and I was like, "Well, I don't even know what it's called." And he's like, "Well, what is it?" So I ended up telling him, uh, I'm not even sure if this really what the name is called, but the crucifix roll up pin.
Right.
I started doing that with him, and I was like, "Man, this is so much fun. Now I got to find a girl that I could do this with." And then there's different other, like a sunset flip, different, things that, you know, I hadn't done before that he was very patient with helping me. Whereas other people that I have known in the wrestling business, it's like, if you don't know this, I don't have time to help you with anything. So I
Right.
think, with Nova coming in and Deacon already, Deacon has that family background as well. So when I started talking about like family history and the legacy and my grandpa and my mom, he was like, I know exactly what you're talking about because of his family. I'm like, well, this is pretty easy to talk about then. And we just clicked from day one.
I met my true love. I mean,
Absolutely.
there you go. I mean, Lawrence said it. He says, and they lived happily ever after. So talk to us about you guys' future. If I'm thinking right, y'all just celebrated your first anniversary, your first year together.
We did. We celebrated our first year. And I have actually been working on wedding stuff. We have plans
Uh,
to be married next year.
so can we get a date? Is there a date set yet?
Tentatively April 18th, as long
April
as
18th.
everything plans out the way we want it to.
Hey, it sounds like it was meant to be, man. I mean, it just does. Both of y'all coming from wrestling families. Here's the thing about wrestling. It takes, you got to have a special partner.
Hmm.
I mean, it's whether they're in the business or not in the business, they still have to be special and understand how this business works. Now, here's the difference. Nowadays, guys ain't gone every night of the week on the road, some different town like they used to. So it's not as big of a deal as far as the distance between you. But still, wrestling is hard on relationships unless both partners understand what they're in for. And with you two guys, uh, Deacon growed up in the business too and around it. So I think it might have been a match made in heaven there, girl.
Absolutely. And with the way, like we were talking earlier, I don't really want to try to, well, there's really no way simple to put it. It's kind of breaking kayfabe, but kind of keeping it the same. Like, we have our personal life, but we also have our wrestling life.
Right.
With our personal life, we're engaged. We're doing the damn thing, as people say nowadays. Things are fantastic. There's things that I have done with him that I have never imagined or wanted to do, and he's brought out the best of me, not just as a person, not as a woman, but as a mother too. He's taught me more because I have three boys. So me trying to teach my three boys something, I need that male voice of, hey, they're going through puberty or they're teenagers. Like, you have to talk to them different because I was a teenager once. I'm like, you're right. You're right. But then at the same time with the wrestling stuff, something that Ken had told me a while ago, it's like like I said earlier, it's like a soap opera. It is the drama. The more personal, the better it is. The more personal your story is, the more people are gonna become invested in it. So I brought up the idea of us doing the Deacon Nova deal, and it has worked fantastic. And there's still a whole lot to uncover with the Deacon and Nova story. So
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I hated when you guys split up, man. I thought this is a good pair right here. Y'all look good together. Y'all seem to be comfortable out there, natural out there. Uh, I'm anxious. My goal is for y'all to get back together, man, on the floor, and it's my goal. So look, Lawrence wants to know: are we gonna have one of those wrestling? We're gonna have one of those wrestling weddings where it's on social media, or are we gonna record it and have all the wrestlers there? Maybe even have a cake fight at the end of it? Or are we gonna go discreet and keep it simple and quiet?
Um, I would like to have it discreet. That's something that he and I will have to discuss. If he wants to go live for people that can't be in attendance, then okay. But I would really, they call it the unplugged ceremony. I would like it to where everybody that is at the ceremony, put your phones away. Be present in the moment.
Right.
So that's honestly what I want is something, I want it small and I want it intimate. The actual ceremony, the reception, that's a whole different story. That's going to be the big party. But the actual ceremony, immediate family and immediate friends. That's what I want.
Say that reception, that's where all the wrestling shit's going to go down, huh?
Absolutely. We might need to hire security.
There you go. Look, Mark McGee says, Nova and Deacon, y'all let Buster do the commentary for your wedding. I think I could call a wedding, man. I ain't no priest, but I could definitely call the action, especially the after party. The reception, yes, I'm all over that one for sure. Mm-hmm. Chant says, book it, Buster. Deacon's back and says, we're doing a Kenny Valiant ice cream battle royal at the end of the reception. There you go. There you go. So look, girl, we're going to start winding down. But before we do, I got a couple of more questions for you. First thing I want to know, what do you think about women's wrestling of today compared to old school women's wrestling, man?
That is actually a very good question. My opinion, I don't really enjoy, I'm going to be honest. I haven't really watched a lot of the women's wrestling. I have seen clips of things. I'm like, oh, that was cool. That was cool. But I haven't watched the story as a whole. But I think it's more, I guess, sexualized is the word I'm going to look for. You have all the cleavage and you have your cheeks hanging out. And, if you look good, flaunt it. It doesn't make it, can't talk. Does it make me jealous? Yeah, it does a little bit. But I'm the one to blame for the way I look. So in order for me to look like them, I got to do something about it. So I do intend on changing my appearance. However, back in the day, even looking at some of my mom's pictures, like the Polaroid pictures or, regular 4x6 pictures, you can look at the actual picture and you can see that there's a story being told in a picture, which nowadays you can't really do that. Back then, you had actual women wrestlers. Now it's more of the entertainment. So from my standpoint, it's difficult for me to find a woman that I can actually wrestle and actually do moves and reversals and things like that because I feel like it's not what it's about anymore these days.
I understand your thought 100% there, but I still go back and believe that, here's the thing, all the things that worked 100 years ago, if they're done right and properly, still work today. People don't want to believe that, but it's the honest truth. Everything that has worked in wrestling for 100 years still works now. You just got to know how to do it and do it properly. That is it. I mean, honestly, and especially where we are in our area, the Memphis Mid-South area, I mean, these fans here are conditioned to pro wrestling, and they're conditioned to have a story. Mm-hmm. They're not conditioned to just have matches. Every fan around here needs to know what's going on and why it's happening. Where we are here and where we're headed next week. I got to be there. I got to see the next chapter, like you said, of this story next week. Come to the Coliseum. People came to the Coliseum every Monday night for years and years to see what was going to happen from Saturday to Monday.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. Inspirations. Who are some of your inspirations in the wrestling business?
When I was younger, I absolutely loved watching Steve Bradley. I do need to get a cigar. But I have something even better. I have the barbed wire bat. Steve Bradley was one of my absolute favorite wrestlers back in the day. I still, to this day, will YouTube, might be a little biased, but I still YouTube Nightmare Ken Wayne or Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I'll even look up Doug Gilbert stuff, the old school guys, because I like to see the way they they would talk their talk. And then they not only talked their talk, but they also walked the walk.
Right.
Because nowadays it's, somebody can cut a fabulous promo and like, damn, they're badass. They're going to whoop ass in the ring. And then they get out there and it's like, is this the same person I just saw?
They don't have no clue what they're doing. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of times they don't even have, you see it all the time. I mean, look, the sun shines on a dog's ass ever so often. A lot of times in their promos, I don't think they really understand what made them work for them. You go out there, a young guy go out there, cut a killer promo, and I'm like you, because I see it all the time. I'm like, man, if we could take that dude right there who just said that, and then channel that and put that in the ring, this guy could be a star, But
I think a lot of it has to do with the confidence too. Because you can take your phone and set it up and it'd be just you in a mirror cutting a promo. And it's like, oh, I just cut this badass promo. This is going to be great. But if you don't have the confidence to follow that promo into the match, you're not going to make anything of yourself or your partner or your opponent.
Right. Let's talk about confidence for a minute, because that seems to be a running theme through these podcasts. Professional wrestlers and their confidence. Because here's the thing, you can be up here 1 second in pro wrestling and be right at the very bottom the next, and it plays with your confidence. And the one thing you got to do, you got to be able to go out there even when your confidence is low and not show that. You still got to be on when you're out there. What's your thoughts on confidence? Does it affect you like that? Like if you're down on yourself, do you feel like your matches aren't as good as they are when everything's just perfect and your confidence is high?
To a certain extent, I feel that. But like I said before, when I do a promo, when I do a match, I always give the absolute best that I can, because it's not about me. It's about me giving the crowd what they just paid money for. It's trying to make them happy. So if there's also a huge difference in the confidence and the ego. Like there is a lot of big egos in the wrestling business, and people think, oh no, they just have big confidence. No, the hell they don't. They have that big head that's like, oh, I'm the superstar. I'm the heavyweight champion, blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a shit who you are. If you walk around with your head up your ass, nobody's going to want to be with you. Nobody's going to want to book you. And that's going to drop what people say is the confidence down, because you were here as your champion. But the more you're an asshole, you keep getting dropped down. You're like, oh, it's something that I did. Well, it's your ego. Check your ego at the door.
And here's the thing. You mentioned Moondog earlier. I worked under Moondog for 10 years at least. And the one of the running things he would say, sometimes you'd have new guys come in the dressing room on Friday night, and they'd be, in shape, ripped, some guys, they could draw girls, but the one thing Moondog would always say is, you can't push these guys too quick. And his reason why is because if I bring them in here tonight and I throw them in the main event, within a couple of weeks, a month or so, you ain't going to be able to do nothing with them because their head's going to swell up.
Exactly.
You got to keep them at a point until they're ready, because, I mean, honestly, the wrestling business is an ego-driven business. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's no way around it. And I believe that every one of us that's ever been in the business, you need a certain amount of ego. It's just knowing where that line is between believing your own bullshit and reality.
Exactly. Like my ego, I have that little bit of an ego of I'm the baddest of the bad. I have to believe my ego when I go through that curtain, because if I don't believe it, you're not going to believe it. So I have to make sure that I'm on my game from the time I park my car in the parking lot of an arena, and then keep that ego up the whole way. When regular me, I'm outside collecting rocks, chasing butterflies without a care in the world.
Well, look, girl, you said earlier, Tiger said, well, you're creative, come up with something. As you can see my background here, I stole everything but my logos from your Facebook. So did you design these the skull logos and stuff? Obviously I believe you designed that.
The one with the 3 skulls in the ring was an AI thing done that Big Daddy Storm did. Deacon and Storm kind of put their minds together and came up with that one for me. The one with the bow, I did that myself, and the Nova Rain at the bottom of your screen, I designed that myself. I actually drew that out on some sketch paper and sent it over and like, hey, I want to make this a logo. And that's what I came up with.
I love it. I was searching around because I do it for everybody. I go around and I'm like a Facebook stalker when it comes time to make one of these backgrounds. I'm going through everything, and man, when that wasn't even on here at first. It was this, and then I found that because I was looking for a way to something to. I didn't want to just put Nova Rain under there like it is in Buster Unmasked. And I scrolled enough until I seen it, and I thought, yep, I'm gonna steal that, and the little skulls there in the middle, I'm gonna steal that too and use that. But here's the thing: pro wrestling creativity is king in professional wrestling. I mean, here's the thing: pretty much everything has been done. So now it's more about taking something and making it your own. You know, and that comes with it takes a lot of creativity to do something that. Take something that's been done 1,000 times before and twist it just enough to make it identifiable with you.
Mm-hmm. That's another reason why I guess I watched like the old school stuff. I'll take the different things that I've seen and kind of twist it just enough to where, oh, I saw Ken Wayne do that, but now I see Nova Rain doing it, you know, but it is a little bit different. He used to do this thing where he was like a side wrist lock and then a step through and then like a judo kick or something up. Well,
right.
We transitioned mine where it looks very manly. I don't need to do something that's very manly because I am 100% female. So I decided to make mine into a roundhouse kick. And it looks fantastic either way, from when Ken did it and then when I do it. So I try to keep it like different things that happened, you know, years ago that still work today, but also put my own twist in it to where it's not really copyright, I guess you'd say, but it's still part of the story.
Right. And you know, that goes back to anything in wrestling. We're all out there doing the same moves, the same spots. It's just how you make them yours, how you own those spots is how I look at it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's kind of like Lawler in the fist drop. That is really, I mean, there's a bunch of people who's done it, and probably Eddie Gilbert's probably the one who done it best compared to Lawler. I know Eddie was a big fan of Lawler, a huge fan of Lawler, and took a lot of Lawler's mannerisms and stuff. But I'm like you, man. Eddie Gilbert, one of the coolest dudes. I only got to meet him one time. I want to say in 1993. It might have been even 92. But was just a cool dude. But I grew up watching Eddie Gilbert. Got a genius mind for the wrestling business, I believe.
Absolutely. I did the same thing. I forgot to throw this one in. It was, you know, I said earlier, Steve Bradley was one of my favorites. There was a couple things that I watched from him. I'm not much of a flyer. I will jump off the top rope and do a crossbody. That's as far as flying as I'm going to get. I want to do more mat wrestling. So, of course, I watched, you know, my Uncle Ken and Eddie, but I also watched Brian Christopher. People like to talk shit about Brian because of, you know, the personal things, but in the wrestling part of it, he was a fantastic worker. The way he can work a crowd being a heel, he can work a crowd being a face. He could do it all. And he busted his ass every single show that he was at. And, you know, back when he was younger, I loved watching the stuff that he did when he was younger, because why not learn from who was there in Memphis to build the wrestling in Memphis?
Yeah, Brian, I'm like you. I don't think he gets enough credit for being as good as he really was, man. And I want to say 1992 or 3, when he was at his heel peak almost. Man, Brian was one of the very best heels in the wrestling business. Here's the deal. If Jerry Lawler hadn't have been his daddy, or Jerry Lawler would have been a little bit older and been gone by the time Brian showed up, honestly, Brian was the heir apparent to this territory, in my opinion. And he had everything. It wasn't like he couldn't hold that weight. It wasn't like he couldn't carry that ball. He could have very well carried that ball easily, Brian. And I had issues with Brian myself until we wrestled one time. And once we had one match, then I had no more issues with him. We were cool after that. But, I mean, Really, he really was the torch should have been passed to Brian, and it should have been a known thing. Like it should have been a big deal. Like so everybody knew Brian was the new Jerry Lawler of this area, and it just
And that's
never
how it started out. When he started, he didn't want to be known as a Lawler.
right.
Kind of how I didn't want to be known as a Wayne. I wanted to build myself. I wanted to build my character on my own to see if I could do it without the handout from my family. And Brian was trying to do the same thing, which he did very well at the beginning. And then again, telephone, telegraph, telewrestler, it's all out.
Yeah, Brian was absolutely one of the best, and I feel like he's highly underrated. Highly
Absolutely.
underrated. Girl, is there anything else you want to talk about? It's an open forum right now. Anything you want to talk about, we will, girl, before we close this thing out.
I think we covered pretty much everything that I had on my mind.
Nova, I want to tell you thank you so much, and I'm sorry it took us roughly an extra month to get here, but I mean, just to let people know, we logged in yesterday just to make sure we had a good connection because the first podcast was scheduled right after all the big storms, and we tried to log in, and we did log in with each other, but it just wouldn't have been worth doing this podcast. I'm so glad that we waited. I've been dying to do this podcast. I don't get look, I get all the guys. There's a ton of guys out there, but I get the women are more sparse, so it's special to me anytime I get any of you ladies on here, get your opinions about wrestling, especially someone who growed up in the business and understands the wrestling business. It has been my pleasure, girl, having you here.
Thank you for having me. The one thing I do want to say, if anybody wants to follow my Nova Rain Facebook page, go on there, follow, like it. I put on there different dates of different shows I'm going to be at. I do customs now with Luxury Pro Women's Wrestling. So if you want a custom match, go on there and order you a custom match. You get the baddest of the bad, up close and personal every time.
Well, let's talk about right before we close out. Let's plug Luxury Pro. It used to be Liberty Pro, and then it's got new owners, and now it's Luxury Pro. And how many of these have you done? Because I don't remember seeing you pop up. Maybe the last couple of months, 2 or 3 months.
I just recently did my first one, and
Okay.
I'm on the flyer. I just shared the flyer. I want to say I shared it today of what's going to be coming up. May 17th is going to be our next taping.
So look, there ain't no way to not break kayfabe on this one, but customs is different. No crowd there. So talk to me about you coming from a wrestling family who understands it's all about all them people in the seats. That's where you get your energy from. That's where you make your money at in the wrestling business. How is it for you to go do the customs? No fans there or nothing. How do you like it?
It was very, very different. The first time that I went up there, I went just to watch. It was, I will be honest, it was not my cup of tea. I did not think I was going to enjoy doing it. When I did get my match booking, when I finally told the owner, hey, I'll go ahead and do it. I'll do it one time, see how it goes. And if I like it, then I'll keep coming back. Where customs and actually wrestling in front of a loud crowd is completely different. I was so nervous. I couldn't focus on what I needed to do. Even though the guy that bought the match said I did a fantastic job, I keep watching it over and over myself. And I'm like, man, I could have done this so much better. So I critique myself a lot. I don't look at the match as a whole all the time. I look at different pieces, which is something I guess Buddy and my mom and Ken have taught me. So like even when I go to like a live show, I will watch the match at least 3 times. I'll watch it as a whole. I'll watch just me, and then I'll watch it to hear the crowd reaction. And doing customs, it was so much different because there was nothing for me to feed off of like I'm used to. And I was like, oh shit, what do I do now? And I would turn and, I was wrestling Mackenzie Morgan. Fantastic. I absolutely love this girl. She helped carry me through my first customs match, and I appreciate everything she did for me. If I get the chance to do more matches, there's Little Bit there, $1 Million Baby, Alexis Jade, Queen BB, there's there's a lot of people, a lot of girls that I would absolutely love to tangle with.
And all these women are legit pro wrestlers too.
Yes.
There's usually I mean all of them. There's no girls on there that's just what they do and they only do this. All you ladies actually wrestle. Mm-hmm. And here's something that, look, like we've said it over and over, you can't make no money at this business, but the one thing I dig about the customs is it allows you guys and girls to subsidize your income by doing this, because at least you get to make some money when you're doing the customs. The more matches you get booked, the more money you get to make.
Mm-hmm. And also, I like to do it more because, like I said before, the more in-ring experience I get, the better I am as a whole. And with it being completely different than being in front of a live crowd, it gives me a different thought process of, okay, so this is what I need to do now, and then this is what I need to do next. And it really racks your brain. So I feel like, again, the more I wrestle, the better I'll be.
Right. Lawrence says, I got a custom match recently I booked with Nova. Loved the match. Hold on, let me go, because we're coming back to Poker Face. He said, love the custom match you did with Mackenzie Morgan, Nova.
Thank you, Laza.
And Poker Face, that's the wrong one. Let me get back to it. Here we go. Poker Face TV says, hey, Nova.
Hello, Poker.
Before we close out, talk to me about Mayhem Millington. What was it, 11 y'all just did?
It was 11. Again, growing up in the business, I did concessions. As running a show as a whole, you not only have to think about your talent, you have to think about somebody that's going to run your music. Or if you have lights, you have to have somebody run lights. Then you have to have concessions. It's not a one-man band. You have to have so many people. So when I found out that, originally Poker wasn't going to do a Mayhem 11. So when he announced it, I immediately reached out and was like, hey, I'll do your concessions again this year. That's something you don't have to worry about. So I'm hoping maybe next year he'll run another one. Wink, wink, Poker. Maybe he can book me on that one and I can find somebody to run concessions for him then, which shouldn't be a problem, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, the last few years, he seems to be starting to draw really good crowds. I don't know exactly what this one was. I only seen a few pictures, and it's hard to see unless you can see the whole arena, but I know it was packed. But man, last year's was off the charts. If this year's was as big as last year's, it can only get bigger from what I can tell.
Mm-hmm. So every event that I have gone to with Poker Face, it is fantastic. He puts on one hell of a show.
Well, he puts everything into it. I'll say that, man. If you're going to run a show once a year, you need to make it a big ass production, and Poker Face has done that.
Absolutely,
sure.
He does.
I see the after party too. I see all them pictures. I see the pictures from the after party. That's Poker Face right there, man. You got to have that after party.
It is so much fun.
Let's see what Lawrence says. When are you going to start a promotion? No, sounds like you would be good at it. Honestly, it does.
Well, if I didn't have the stress that I have nowadays, I would do it. But, running a promotion is stressful in itself. So, I don't know. Maybe one day.
Go on and admit it. It's a hell of a headache dealing with wrestlers.
Oh, yes, it is.
It just is, man. It's a hell of a headache. I'll be honest with you. The one thing I do like about social media now is Messenger, because back in the day, if you were booking a show and you had to talk to wrestlers, my God, sometimes your phone bill will be more than your damn rent on your house dealing with talking to wrestlers, because you get to talking to them, they want to know what's going on. Well, what am I doing? And then that turns into an hour and a half conversation with everybody. Mm-hmm. And you spend all your time. I love Messenger for that. Girl, we're going to let you go. Once again, thank you so much for coming on. I have so enjoyed this conversation. You and Deacon get married. I want to bring y'all back as a couple.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And you have a great night.
You as well.
All right, y'all, you seen it right there. Nova Rain knows a lot about the pro wrestling business. We learned a lot about her today. Smart chick, man. Growed up in the wrestling business. Like I said, I don't think you can talk about wrestling royal families around this area without mentioning her family. Just is the way it is. All right, guys, I want to thank everybody who interacted with us, everybody who watched. I'll be back Wednesday at 7 p.m. with Terry Golden. He's the owner and founder of KAW and Memphis Championship Wrestling, the WWE developmental company in 2000. Now, Golden Media, taking over the radio waves, the TV waves, and social media. Hell of a businessman. He'll be here Wednesday at 7. Thursday at 7, I got MJ Davis, the dude who brings all the smoke, the current Bluff City heavyweight champion. We're going to talk to him Thursday. Before we get out of here, I got to promote these podcasts one more time, so let's get that done.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
Face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, doing me no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me stack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough. Calluses on my hands so rough, yeah, I call your bluff. I'm not the one, mess with me and come down with none. Cause I'm so done, you had your fun. And now you're gonna face down the barrel of the gun. Cause I got a full clip with your name on it. But I'ma let you slide cause you ain't worth it.
I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
All right, y'all, be sure to like this video, share this video, go to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. I want to say thank you once again to Nova Rain for being our guest tonight, and I want to thank each and every one of you people who tuned in or interacted with us. I will see you guys 7 p.m. Wednesday night with Terry Golden. Until then, y'all take it easy.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're with my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you are behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.